15th of the 2016 FIM Ice Speedway World Championship is the second event of the campaign staged in Germany. Inzell is the now traditional venue for the season finale, where after 10 days of competition, the 2016 champion will finally be crowned. The top four in the championship standings were separated by just 2 points coming into round 4 of the title race in Assen. But the weekend saw gaps finally start to emerge between the riders, with Igor Kononov slipping dramatically out of serious contention. Dmitry Kometsevich impressed on day one with 7 consecutive victories, beating pre-meeting championship leader Dmitry Koltakov twice to become the new name at the top of the standings. Igor Kononov squeezed through to the final but failed to score, conceding 10 points to Kometsevich, who pulled a point clear of Dmitry Koltakov with a third meeting win of the campaign. Dmitry Koltakov hit back on day 2 as he put together a 6-ride winning sequence. Dmitry Kometsevich dropped just 1 point in the heat stages as Koltakov won their head-to-head in heat 4. Koltakov continued to look confident on his way towards the final, passing Igor Kononov in his round 5 heat. Kononov again faltering, failed to make the top 4. Koltakov's championship challenge was further boosted by defeat for Dmitry Kometsevich at the hands of Daniil Ivanov in the semi-final stages. Kometsevich struck back in the final, a takes-the-flag success, giving him a second consecutive meeting victory and the joint lead at the top of the standings. A dramatic finish to the Day 2 final in Assen and a dramatic finish to the season itself seemingly guaranteed. The top 2 arrive in Germany, tied on points. Igor Kononov slipped 17 points back and will need a miracle in the final round of the campaign to make the championship podium. So the championship seemingly becomes a 3-horse race. Dmitry Kometsevich and Dmitry Koltakov 5 points clear of Daniil Ivanov. Separate personal battles down the order are still to be resolved over 5th and 7th. Early season points leader Dmitry Koltakov has gradually seen his title grip loosen without a meeting win, and with both Dmitry Kometsevich and Daniil Ivanov chasing throughout the campaign to launch a last round attack. I regret dropping points to Dmitry Koltakov in Krasnogorsk. With such a strong lineup this season, it's really hard to recover points. We all regret conceding points to one another because the level is so high and everyone is ready to do everything to win. I was very fortunate to get 8 points back in Almaty, but at this level in the sport, such a result is hard to get. Berlin was a crucial turning point in the campaign. After an understated start to the season, Dmitry Kometsevich reignited his championship charge with a 1st and 2nd place finish. Every rider is ready for both natural and artificial ice. The reason I've been going better since Almaty is that I changed engine for Berlin. I also made some adjustments to the setup of the bike that seem to have helped. Now I'm concentrated on this weekend and ready for a good result. Losing points in Berlin was my fault, crashing 50 metres from the finish. But I can't say that I didn't ride as well there as in Almaty. Nor can I say that other riders have improved. We're all racing for the title, and sometimes we have mechanical problems, physical problems, or even motivational challenges that affect our performances from event to event. I definitely think I've improved my performances, and the other riders have only maintained theirs, but it's the World Championship and everyone is ready to fight for the title. Dmitry Koltakov was Inzell's 2015 winner on his way to a first world crown. Gradually hunted throughout his title defence, Koltakov knows his 2 pursuing contenders will pose him a different challenge this year. I do prefer tracks with artificial ice such as Inzell. But this weekend will be different to last year. I'll have a different setup and some new adjustments to the bike. But of course I'm out to win on both days again and take the title.
Я буду пробовать другие настройки, не как в прошлом. И думаю, что это будет лучше.
The Max Acre Arena is an historic ice speedway venue that staged Western Europe's first ever world final back in 1969. The 400-metre circuit will provide a fitting arena for the Gladiators' final battle some 47 years later. Antson Klatowski joins the lineup as a reserve replacement for Antti Akko. Max Niedermayer continues to cover for the injured Manfred Siefter, and Luca Bauer completes a field of 4 German riders as the wildcard. Ove Ledstrom enjoyed a strong start to an otherwise disappointing weekend in Inzell. The Swede jetted to the whole shot from the inside gate in Heat 1 as his pursuit of 7th in the championship got off to a confident start. Engaged in a battle with Franz Zorn over 5th in the final standings, Egor Miškovec needed to extract maximum possible points over his non-Russian rivals, knowing that he had been consistently beaten by his fellow countrymen since leaving Krasnogorsk. The youngster provided his typical mid-race surge, recovering from second position to pass Ledstrom on lap 2 for the win. Dmitry Koltakov's Inzell bid got off the ground well with a comfortable Heat 2 win. He was aided by a strong start from home favourite Günther Bauer, who held back championship challenger Daniil Ivanov until lap 2. Ivanov's first drop point of the weekend opened his championship deficit to 6. No German representative managed a top 2 finish in round 1 of the heats, but Max Niedermayer put in a strong first outing from 3rd in Heat 3. Comfortably ahead of wildcard Luca Bauer, Niedermayer pursued Stefan Svensson to the finish in the race for 2nd, only narrowly missing out at the hands of the Swede. Heat 4 took 3 attempts at completion after a full start and then first bend incident in the second staging. Niklas Svensson was fortunate to be allowed back in the restart after he drifted from inside to out and connected with both Dmitry Kometsevich and Franz Zorn before bringing the Austrian down. Zorn and Svensson resumed their battle in the restart, while Kometsevich sprinted clear to restore parity at the top of the championship with Dmitry Koltakov. Daniil Ivanov was the only title challenger to miss out on victory in round 1 of the heats as he slipped a further point back from the overall leaders. Sweden's Ove Ledstrom and Stefan Svensson were matched in their opening rides as the battle for 7th overall remained static, while the first victory for Egor Miškovec gained him an additional point over Franz Zorn. Zorn had the easier draw of the 2 5th-place challengers in round 2 of the heats and capitalised to move provisionally top of the day's standings with a race victory. Günther Bauer was the beneficiary of Ove Ledstrom's misfortune, as the Swede retired from 2nd at the end of lap 1 and gifted both Bauer and Max Niedermayer an additional point. Daniil Ivanov was beaten for a 2nd time in round 2, as his championship hopes continued to fade. Igor Kononov took a 2nd consecutive race victory, but remained 10 points back from Ivanov overall. Egor Miškovec was restricted to 3rd, the race for 5th in the series swinging back in favour of Franz Zorn. Heat 7 proved that ice speedway is undoubtedly a family affair. Niklas Svensson moved above Stefan Svensson in the provisional qualification positions with race victory, rounding his father on the exit of turn 2. And at the back, permanent rider Jan Klatowski got his first point of the day at the expense of his brother Antson Klatowski. Dmitry Kometsevich boosted his championship credentials in Heat 8 with a crucial win over main rival Dmitry Koltakov to take the series lead. Komet used his favoured inside line to craft a pass on lap 2. A psychological and literal blow to Koltakov's challenge in their first direct conflict of the weekend. With just 2 defeats in his last 15 rides, Komet was fast becoming the favourite for the title. Igor Kononov and Dmitry Komet remained unbeaten after 2 rides. Dmitry Koltakov's defeat at the hands of Komet having greater repercussions in the championship than simply 1 drop point in the meeting. 4 riders tied on points above the qualification drop zone. Günther Bauer, the best placed German representative, in 9th. Dmitry Komet made it a clean sweep against his championship rivals as he got the better of Danil Ivanov in Heat 9. The former champion remained without a race victory after successive defeats at the hands of his fellow countrymen, results that dropped him 8 points back from the championship leader. Looking to move inside the top 8 in front of his home crowd, Günther Bauer jetted from the tapes before being beaten up and ending Heat 10 in only 3rd. Niklas Svensson pushed his way past on lap 2, making room for Egor Mishkovets to move through. And that was as close as Svensson got to a 2nd consecutive race win, as with the Russian on his tail, his race lead lasted less than a lap. Mishkovets made a perfect cutback move on lap 3 to claim a 2nd race victory of the meeting. Markus Gel replaced Antonin Klotowski and took his only ride of the weekend as a reserve in Heat 11. It was a competitive first display from Gel, who held back fellow countryman Stefan Pletschaka for 3rd until the final lap. Pletschaka picked up his first point of the day, but was already out of realistic contention for a semi-final space. Igor Kononov maintained his maximum run with a 3rd straight victory, getting the better of Franz Zorn in Heat 12. The Austrian moved level with Egor Mishkovets in the day's standings on 7, with Daniel Henderson recording a 3rd successive single-point score in the minor positions. Round 3 victories for Dmitry Koltakov and Dmitry Komet stabilised the top of the standings, with Igor Kononov, the spoiler, unbeaten and in among the meeting leaders after 3 outings. Further down the order, Günther Bauer was joined by Max Niedermayer, just a point from the qualification positions, with 2 rounds of heats to come. Wildcard Luca Bauer took his first championship points after an incident-packed Heat 13. Ove Ledstrom looked set to put 2 consecutive non-scoring rides behind him as he took the whole shot from the outside and pulled away from Jan Klotowski and Stefan Pletschaka. But it all went wrong for the inexperienced Swede on lap 2, hitting a rut and the back wheel coming round on him. A spectacular fall and inevitable disqualification left him on just 2 points from 4 rides. The headline of the restaging was a fast start for wildcard Luca Bauer. The German quickly passed by Jan Klotowski, did well to hold on from Stefan Pletschaka for the full duration of the race to notch 2 points and raise a cheer from the local crowd. Egor Mishkovets and Franz Zorn came into direct contact for the first time in Heat 14, in a race which moved the Russian 1 step closer to 5th in the title contest. Mishkovets had to fight from the back to take 2nd from Zorn, behind race winner Dmitry Koltakov. A well-prepared cutback move gave the youngster the position as he restored his overall lead on Zorn to 6. A first defeat of the day for Dmitry Komet reignited hope among his championship rivals and brought Dmitry Koltakov back level at the top of the series standings. Igor Kononov took another big-name scalp on his way to Heat 15 victory, maintaining a 4-ride unbeaten streak and his position at the top of the meeting leaderboard. While Danil Ivanov sprinted predictably clear, Niklas Svensson pursued crucial points from the back in Heat 16. He took an aggressive move on lap 4 to take 3rd position from Daniel Henderson, Svensson left too far back from Max Niedermayer to challenge in the latter stages for a top 2 finish. The German moved to within a point of Svensson and into the top 8, while the Swede's salvaged point gave him a 2-point buffer above the drop zone. After the 2 previously unbeaten riders went head-to-head in Heat 15, only Igor Kononov remained on a maximum run. Max Niedermayer moved into the top 8 at the expense of Stefan Svensson, the veteran restricted to the back in Heat 14. The bottom 4, including Ove Ledstrom, were already out of the running for a semi-final space before the final round of Heat races. After his earlier defeat at the hands of Dmitry Kometsevich, Dmitry Koltakov needed to become the first rider to take points from Igor Kononov to maintain joint leadership of the championship. Aggressively moving to block Kononov on the first lap, Koltakov did well to hit the front, but just as he had against Kometsevich in Heat 8, Koltakov made himself vulnerable by riding too defensively. A cautious inside line on the final 2 turns facilitated a typical outside burst from Kononov to take the win. Max Niedermayer was looking for second position from Heat 18 to guarantee a first semi-final space in 2 years, but he was overhauled by Egor Mishkovets after briefly holding the top 2 place. The Russians' inside pass also ushered Jan Klotowski through, and Niedermayer would have to rely on a collapse from Stefan Svensson and Günther Bauer to steal progression on 6. Daniel Ivanov closed his qualifying rides with a race victory after a lap 2 overtake on Franz Zorn, the Austrian's eventual second place with a 5th defeat to Russian riders, as he got the better of all of the lineup's remaining competitors for a double-figure tally. Günther Bauer and Stefan Svensson lined up for Heat 20 in a head-to-head for the last qualification position to the semi-finals. Last in his round 4 heat, Svensson looked set to recover with a first race victory of the meeting, but Bauer swept through aggressively on the 4th lap to the delight of the crowd. The move also pushed Daniel Henderson to the fence in a domino effect, but brought the Swede down and his second successive non-scoring ride. Bauer's race victory saw him progress on 8, Stefan Svensson knocked out by his son by a single point. Igor Kononov tops the standings after 20 heats in Inzell, upsetting the championship favourites with a maximum score. Stefan Svensson and Max Niedermayer both held places within the top 8 at one stage before slipping back. Undoubtedly, the weaker of the 2 semi-finals presents a great opportunity to the 2 favourites to progress. Igor Kononov goes off the inside start position in the red helmet colour, 15 points from the heat stages. Daniel Ivanov off gate 2 in blue, 12 points to his name. Gate 3 in white, Franz Zorn looking for his first final of the season, the closest that he enjoys to a home race in the championship. And the outside gate is with Niklas Svensson, the Swede in his highest scoring round of the campaign so far. Down to the first turn with a good start off gate 2 from Daniel Ivanov, but it's Igor Kononov who wins the drag race to the first turn, and a good break from Franz Zorn as well before he's pushed aside by Daniel Ivanov, moving through into second position. The riders stacking down as you might have predicted before the race at the end of the opening lap. It's Kononov leading Ivanov, Zorn being dropped in 3rd position, and Niklas Svensson in his second semi-final of the campaign, stuck out at the back for a second time. Igor Kononov leading the way, as inconsistent as ever this season. Failed to make the top 4 last time out at all, but he's been unbeaten through the heats here today, and he's the class of the field, pulling well clear of Daniel Ivanov, the former world champion, restricted to second, and this will do further damage to Ivanov's championship challenge, as he would have been looking for the 3 race points from this one to just keep the pace with Kometsevich and Koltakov at the top of this 2016 series. Igor Kononov will win the first semi-final to book his place in the final. Second place over the line to Daniel Ivanov, and close in the run down to the line for 3rd. It's Franz Zorn who collects the consolation point at the expense of Niklas Svensson, but both West European riders will be eliminated and unable to make the final 4. Kononov and Ivanov then moving through. Zorn and Svensson eliminated from semi-final 1.
That's good.
The top two in the championship go head-to-head in semi-final two. Dmitry Komitsevich off the inside start position, 152 championship points. Dmitry Koltskov off gate 2 in blue, 151 championship points, just a point behind. Gate 3 in white is with Egor Mishkovets bidding for his 4th top 4 appearance of the season. And Gunter Bauer, the home hero, completes the lineup off the outside. Fast start off the inside from Dmitry Komitsevich, who takes the whole shot. Dmitry Koltskov settling straight into second. Third is with Egor Mishkovets, and Gunter Bauer, who always raises his level in Inzell, doesn't look like making it through. The battle is up front. Koltskov ducking to the inside and Komitsevich aggressively across the front of his championship rival, back down into the first 2 turns. Koltskov unable to square off the turn and get up the inside, but he's going to continue to pursue around the outside into the bends, and again we'll try that cutback move. Komitsevich is now building up his momentum. Earlier on in the race he looked slow, he looked defensive, but now he's starting to pick his own racing line, showing a bit of the confidence that we've seen since his mid-season turnaround. And the championship leader looks set to take an additional point now over Dmitry Koltskov, who was beaten by Komitsevich in the heat stages. He may well need to beat him consecutively over the coming day of competition just to get back into this title race, because the semi-final victory goes the way of Dmitry Komitsevich, second over the line with Dmitry Koltskov. Egor Mishkovets and Gunter Bauer predictably against the 2 championship favourites eliminated from semi-final 2. It would have been a major upset if either of those 2 riders had gone through. Bauer saluting the crowd as he says goodbye after his elimination from semi-final 2, along with Egor Mishkovets in third. Komitsevich and Koltskov, the championship favourites, doing battle once again in semi-final 2. The top 4 in the championship standings line up for the day 1 final in Inzell. Off the inside gate in the red helmet colour, it'll be Igor Kononov. Disappointing last time out in Assen, set to recover today as he bids for a 3rd meeting win of the season. Gate 2 in blue, Dmitry Komitsevich, 4 round wins already to his name from 8 finals. Gate 3 in white, Dmitry Koltskov, the double winner here last season, yet to take a first win of this campaign. And Danil Ivanov completes the lineup off the outside gate. Movement before the tapes went up, and that race is surely going to have to be pulled back. Komitsevich left around the first 2 turns, and the red lights do indeed come on. The red flags are out to signal a halt to the day 1 final, and the referee has a decision to make here as to whether Dmitry Komitsevich actually touched those starting tapes. He dismounts his machine, he has been disqualified, and it'll be 3 riders only for the restaging in a costly result for Dmitry Komitsevich. A perfect opportunity for Dmitry Koltskov to make back the point that he lost in semi-final 2. Came into this race 2 points in arrears, 155 to 153. If he takes the checkered flag here, he will return to the championship lead. Watch for Koltskov off gate 3. He hasn't made the best start. In fact, it's Kononov who gets there first, commanding the inside lead across the front of Koltskov around turns 1 and 2. Danil Ivanov early on pushed back to 3rd as Koltskov hitting all sorts of ruts coming around the pit's bend. And it's Kononov pulling away just as he has through the heat stages, just as he did in the first semi-final to Danil Ivanov. This will be damage limitation nonetheless for Dmitry Koltskov. 2 points here will pull things all back level in the series overall with Dmitry Komitsevich. But it's Igor Kononov looking for a 3rd meeting win of the season, pulling well clear now, and the main race is over second, where Danil Ivanov, 5 points in arrears coming into today's meeting, now 8 points back in the championship, is going to be unable to make an impression once again on Dmitry Koltskov. 1 victory so far this campaign for Danil Ivanov, none at all as yet for Dmitry Koltskov heading into the final round of the campaign. It's Igor Kononov who takes the checkered flag to restore some late season pride. Second going the way of Dmitry Koltskov. Ivanov over the line for the 3rd step of the podium, but with a shake of the head. He's disappointed with that. That one was all decided around the first 2 turns and from the start. And the start crucial in the initial staging as well, leading to the disqualification of Dmitry Komitsevich, who fails to score from the final. Dmitry Koltskov with some damage limitation there with 2nd position. Igor Kononov, the meeting winner. Kononov making up 4 of a 17-point deficit with a 21-point maximum in Inzell. In terms of the championship, Koltskov and Komitsevich finishing tied on points. Danil Ivanov snatching 3rd, drops 2 further points in arrears. I had a really bad feeling today and was only able to take 3rd place. Something was wrong, and now we have to work out exactly what that was to improve it for tomorrow. Of course, I'm not at all happy with my result. Physically and mentally, I'm totally ready to fight for the win. But I made some mistakes today and had some bike problems as well. It feels like we've had these issues all season, and we've constantly been trying to improve. So we have a lot of work to do before tomorrow, but I can promise you that tomorrow I will be fighting to keep the title. I'm very happy. I got a good number of points today, but really I feel it's too late. I'm still fighting and hoping, though. Tomorrow will be very interesting, and we'll see what it brings. Only one position change in the top 8 as Stefan Svensson repasses Ove Ledstrom in the race for 7th. It's a game of small margins at the top of the title race, with Dmitry Koltykov and Dmitry Komitsevich tied on points on day 1 and in the championship. But after a disappointing weekend in Assen, the day belongs to Igor Kononov, who returns to the top for his 3rd victory of the campaign. The Bauer family passion for ice speedway has been passed down through the generations to 2016 championship debutant Luca Bauer, the wildcard in Inzell, who will compete alongside his father at elite level for the first time. My passion for ice speedway came from my father, who worked here in the pits through the years. I came with him as a young boy from the age of 5 or 6 to see the racing. I loved the sport from the first time I saw it and became a fan of Perolev Serenius. As soon as I was allowed at the age of 18, I organised a bike for myself and started ice speedway. From the age of 5, it was very clear to me that I wanted to race ice speedway. I've always been fascinated by the angle, leaning down on the ice with the elbow. Of course, all Luca has seen in his life is ice speedway. All we talk about at home is the sport, and he doesn't see much else. He started with a 50cc bike and mini spikes and told me that was what he wanted to do. This is the first time ever that we've ridden together in the GP in Germany, and I'm really proud of what we're doing together. Of course, my father helps me to learn and shows me how to prepare the bike. He has a lot of experience and it's easy to learn from him. It's so important that we have a new generation coming through. I'm sure the spectators want to see new blood, young riders, not the same over 40s that we've had for years in Western Europe. The young riders now are the future of the sport, so we have to help them, at risk of the sport in this part of the world dropping further behind. I try not to think about age. I want to beat every rider, but it's good for the sport that we're finding more young riders. It's not easy for us to race against one another, and it makes me nervous. I admit I do look for him. But he's strong enough now to be here, and my dream is to race together in the German team here, and for me to then retire. Luca can then start the new generation.
Das Teamfinale ist mein Traum, dass wir zusammen im Team für Deutschland starten, und dann ist es für mich finish mit dem Ice Speedway.
For me, it's special just to be in the Grand Prix as the wildcard. Of course, if possible, I will try to beat my father, but the most important thing is to ride more laps and to learn more. Hopefully, I'll be the faster of us this weekend because I have a bit more experience. But if he can beat me, then I'll be happy as well, because that shows he's going in the right direction. Coming into the final day of competition, Ove Ledstrom had slipped to 8th in the standings at the expense of senior Swede and national champion Stefan Svensson. Meanwhile, in his battle with Franz Zorn over 5th, a solid day 1 performance had helped Egor Mishkovets to gain another point to lead by 5. The tracks in Russia have wide bends, and those are the types of tracks that I like. The ice is the same for everyone and not too different at indoor venues, but the tracks themselves are a lot narrower, and I'm getting used to that. Yesterday I got the feeling of some good pace and had a good performance, and it was also good to have my trainer Nikolai Krasnikov here to give me advice and help me improve. After his underwhelming performance in Assen, Igor Kononov needed a miracle to take the world title itself, but a maximum score on day 1 in Germany halved his gap to Daniil Ivanov and set up a potential battle for 3rd overall. Ivanov himself remained only 7 points behind joint leaders Dmitry Komitsevich and Dmitry Koltykov, but had been outscored by both of them in 3 consecutive days of competition. Yesterday I made a mistake in the final. I was too nervous and touched the tapes. But for today, I'm in a good mood, I'm not upset about Yesterday, and I'm ready to fight. Dmitry Dmitry Koltykov was 9 points up on Comet Savic after the opening 2 rounds. As that leading margin has gradually been eroded, Koltykov has lost momentum in his championship defence. Late meeting call-up Antonin Klotowski suffered an impossible round 1 heat draw as he lined up against 3 of the top 4 in the championship standings. Igor Kononov was finally beaten for the first time all weekend as he was restricted to 3rd, but it took all of Dmitry Koltykov's prowess to hold back his rival as he appeared to lack speed and gradually dropped backwards during the race. Danil Ivanov had passed Koltykov up the inside off turn 2 on his way to victory, leaving Koltykov with a damage limitation mission to hold on to 2nd. Dmitry Comet Savic moved into a 1-point championship lead as he beat Dmitry Koltykov's round 1 heat score with a race victory in heat 2. Daniel Henderson got his revenge for day 1 defeat at the hands of Niklas Svensson as he took his first top 2 finish of the weekend. Franz Zorn beat Egor Mishkovets in heat 3 to wipe out the young Russian's day 1 advantage and restore his championship deficit to 5. A top-end error from Mishkovets on lap 2 left him with an insurmountable gap to the lead on a difficult day where he failed to extract a double-figure tally or a race win from the heat stages. The race was brought to a premature conclusion as Ove Ledstrom's weekend of misery continued. The Swede got it wrong on the entrance to turn 3 on lap 3 and added a 5th consecutive non-scoring ride to his disappointing run. Stefan Svensson and Günther Bauer resumed their rivalry in Heat 4, the Swede having been denied a semi-final place by the German's first heat win of the weekend on day 1. But Svensson was kept back from his rival until the end of the first lap by Jan Klotowski, who was unable to recover lost ground and had to settle for 2nd. A rousing reception for Günther Bauer as he became the day's 2nd Western European race winner. Unexpected defeats for Egor Mishkovets and Dmitry Koltykov in round 1 of the heat races, but their 2nd place finishes were enough to keep them inside the top 8 nonetheless. An unkind draw and subsequent defeat for Igor Kononov left him outside of the provisional qualification positions. Daniel Henderson took a major stride towards the semi-final stages after a first race victory of the weekend put him on 5 points from 2 outings. Max Niedermeyer recovered well from a first ride last place to take 2nd in Heat 5. Antonin Klotowski scoring his first point of the meeting at the expense of Stefan Pletschaka. Dmitry Comet Savic did well to get across the front of Danil Ivanov from the outside gate to win Heat 6. The former world champion inadvertently supported Comet Savic's title bid by beating Dmitry Koltykov in Heat 1 before conceding a point to Comet Savic in Heat 6. Koltykov took a comfortable Heat 7 win to move back within a point of Comet Savic on day 2 and in the championship. Günther Bauer moved on to 5 points from his opening 2 outings, with Ove Ledstrom scoring his first point of the day at the expense of Luca Bauer at the back. Igor Kononov won Heat 8 to put himself back inside the day's top 8 and into contention for a semi-final space. Behind him, Franz Zorn suffered a round 2 defeat after his opening ride win, with Stefan Svensson surprisingly restricted to last and pushed back from the provisional qualification positions. Dmitry Koltykov lost a point to Dmitry Comet Savic over the first 2 rounds of heats without meeting his main championship rival. With 5 riders tied on 5 points and Comet Savic a point ahead of them, 6 semi-finalists already looks decided after the opening 2 rounds. Dmitry Kometsevich remained unbeaten after 3 rides as he took a predictable race victory from Heat 9. Stefan Svensson returned to the scoreboard with a 2-point tally, with Ove Ledstrom surprisingly at the back and unable to make an impression on Antonin Kotovsky. Franz Zorn put in a brilliant ride in Heat 10 to hold back Daniil Ivanov for the vast majority of the race distance. Only a last-bend attack from the former world champion gave him a second race victory of the meeting. Heat 11 was the best of the round 3 heat races, as 3 Western European riders battled for second behind predictable race winner Dmitry Koltukov. Stefan Pletschaker held the place on the opening bend, but a well-crafted move from Jan Klatovsky moved the Czech from 3rd to 1st. And Niklas Svensson eventually found his way past Stefan Pletschaker as well, taking a 3rd consecutive single-point score. Igor Mishkovets moved into the top 8 after Heat 12, but remained without a heat win after defeat at the hands of Igor Kononov. Matching bronze medal rival Daniil Ivanov in the opening 3 rounds of heats, Kononov remained 6 points in arrears of Ivanov overall. But after Dmitry Kometsevich's Heat 9 win, Kononov was mathematically ruled out of contention for the championship. Luca Bau remained scoreless from his heat programme as he finished behind Max Niedermayer in his 3rd outing. With a non-scoring ride in Heat 10, Gunther Bau dropped down to just a point from the qualification cut-off, with 2nd place finishes for Stefan Svensson and Jan Klatovsky, bringing them back into contention for a top 8 space. Franz Zorn booked his semi-final place with a comfortable race victory in Heat 13 that moved him onto a double-figure score. The Klatovsky brothers battled it out over second behind, Antonin initially holding the position before brother Jan found a way through on lap 2. Jan's 5-point total moved him into a provisional top 8 place, while his brother remained on just 2 points from 3 rides. Ove Ledstrom failed to score from his 2 remaining rides for a total of just 3 points all weekend in Inzell. The Swede was surprisingly overhauled by Max Niedermayer in Heat 14 as his under-par performance continued. Stefan Svensson put up a strong defensive 2nd place behind Dmitry Koltukov in Heat 15. Igor Mishkovets made one of his typical from-the-back pursuits to claim the place around the outside on lap 3. The result left the Swede still a point outside of the top 8, while the Russian's 2-point score moved him up to 6th in the standings. Dmitry Kometsevich has made tapes to flag successes the basis of his championship challenge since a mid-season resurgence as the series moved to Western Europe. And his key asset continued to help him pile on race victories as he commanded Heat 16 and got the better of Igor Kononov for a 4th consecutive race victory. The meeting's top 5 consolidated their qualification position after their round 4 heat efforts, with each of the top 4 in the title race booking their semi-final places with a ride to spare. Igor Kononov sat 8 points behind Daniil Ivanov in the championship race, with time fast running out and 3 race victories needed to chase down the bronze medal overall. Kononov did his part in Heat 17, with the 3rd win of the meeting to finish the heats on a creditable 12-point score. Stefan Svensson passed Stefan Pletschaker down the inside into lap 3 of Heat 18 to take 2nd position and move on to a total of 7 points. He would await the result of Heat 20 to dictate his qualification hopes. In the meanwhile, the crucial Heat 19, where Dmitry Kometsevich got the better of Dmitry Koltukov in their first direct confrontation of the meeting. The result opened Kometsevic's championship lead to 2 points and also narrowed the battle to a two-horse race, with Daniil Ivanov now mathematically out of contention. Niklas Svensson and Günther Bauer both had an opportunity to move above Stefan Svensson in the top 8 to take a semi-final space. Bauer's hopes rested on a second position, which he held until the final lap when Egor Miškovec finally found a way through to snatch the 2 race points. Niklas Svensson had been afforded enough time to escape away, and his victory gave him a top 8 place at the expense of his father. Bauer was saluted by the local crowd as he waved goodbye upon elimination from another German Grand Prix. Egor Miškovec and Niklas Svensson snatched the required points from Heat 20 to take qualification places at the last possible moment. With Günther Bauer pushed back to 3rd and 4 riders tied on 7, Daniel Henderson takes the last semi-final position on countback. With 2 points between the top 2 in the championship standings, the title itself looks set to go to the final heat. Semi-final number 1 off the inside gate in red, Dmitry Kometsevich, unbeaten during the heats to open a 2-point championship lead. Gate 2 in blue, Igor Kononov, confirmed as world number 4 in 2016. Gate 3 in white, Egor Miškovec, only 9 points during the heat stages. Niklas Svensson completes lineup off the outside. Kometsevich, Kononov, Miškovec and Svensson. With Kononov making the fastest start off gate 2 but pushed aside by Kometsevich around the first 2 turns. Egor Miškovec tried to force his way up the inside of Igor Kononov and into second place. But it is Kononov who holds down the inside going into turn 3 and then drifts up to block on the top turn. So it's Kometsevich in front, Kononov in second, Miškovec in third. Niklas Svensson unsurprisingly tailed off behind the 3 Russians. Kometsevich looking over his shoulder. He's got to try to avoid making mistakes in the latter stages of this meeting. Holds a 2-point championship advantage, set to extend it to 5 here. Of course, Dmitry Koltykov will have a ride in hand next time out in semi-final 2, up against Ivanov, Zorn and Henderson. Kometsevich under pressure as he takes it easy into the latter stages. He's got to be careful not to drop a point here to Igor Kononov, who's gradually reduced the margin as this race has gone on. Kometsevich measured in his approach, looking over his shoulder throughout, trying to hold on to the race victory without making any errors. Kononov close in the run down to the line, but Kometsevich takes it. 3 race points for the championship leader as he extends his advantage overall to 5. Kononov marching on to the final alongside him. Miškovec and Svensson eliminated from semi-final 1. Semi-final number 2. Daniil Ivanov goes off the inside gate in red. Now guaranteed at least bronze. He would need Koltykov to collapse to claim the silver from 6 points in arrears. Dmitry Koltykov off gate 2. Just a point away from confirming that second place then, but more interested in looking 5 points upstream to Dmitry Kometsevich. Franz Zorn and Daniel Henderson, the outsiders off the outside gates. Semi-final 2 gets underway with a fast break from Franz Zorn. What a brilliant start that is from the Austrian. Daniil Ivanov trying to get up the inside of him going into turn 3. Koltykov cannot afford to finish outside of the top 2 places here. Cuts back off turn 4. Zorn holds that qualification position at the end of lap 1. And Koltykov is under pressure because his championship challenge will finish if he ends down in 3rd. Cuts his way past Zorn to 2nd place. Now darts to the outside on Daniil Ivanov. Needs to try and find his way through into 1st position, or he'll drop another point on Dmitry Kometsevich. As it stands, 3 points would be the deficit for Dmitry Koltykov going into the last final of 2016. He tries the outside line, he hits a rut, slips further back, and Daniil Ivanov now looks to have consolidated that 1st position. Koltykov will burst straight back up to the outside, desperate to try and haul back in the ground, but he's going to need a race victory in the final, and he's going to need another major slip-up from Dmitry Kometsevich, because Kometsevich now has one hand on the title after Dmitry Koltykov recovers from 3rd to 2nd, but is unable to get the better of Daniil Ivanov in semi-final 2. Good recovery ride from Koltykov. 3rd position would have knocked him out of the championship race, but he gets the better of Franz Zorn to take the 2 race points in the 2nd semi-final. So the 2016 World Championship comes down to a last heat decider, with each of the top 4 in the world involved. Dmitry Komitsevich, the championship leader, goes off gate 1. Needs just a single point to take his first world championship. Gate 2 in blue, Daniil Ivanov, the 2016 world number 3. Dmitry Koltykov off gate 3 in white. Has to win this race with Dmitry Komitsevich at the back to be able to take the title. And Igor Kononov, the spoiler, off the outside gate, looking for his second consecutive victory to round out the campaign. The championship is on the line in the final, and Komitsevich takes the whole shot. The championship leader and favourite hits the front, pursued by his main rival in second position, Dmitry Koltykov. 4 of the most tense laps that Dmitry Komitsevich can possibly imagine. Leading at the end of lap 1, Igor Kononov picks his way past Daniil Ivanov in the race for third position. Ivanov bursting back on the inside, but that's all of little consequence in terms of the championship race. Barring a major slip up here from Komitsevich, he looks set to become world champion. Koltykov looking to force an error on the tail of his rival, pursuing and buzzing on his back wheel. Up to the safety fence once again around turns 1 and 2, but blocked out. The bale's getting ever closer for Koltykov as he tries to squeeze by Komitsevich. Komitsevich can't afford to get embroiled in a battle here. Needs to guarantee the point that he needs to become world champion. And he does indeed leave enough space for Koltykov to squeeze past off turn 2 before backing it off, looking over his shoulder. He will come under more pressure in the latter stage of this race. Igor Kononov bursting to the inside, close in the run down to the line for second. But that will be enough to secure the crown for Dmitry Komitsevich in 2016. Komitsevich needed just a point from the final, and a point was all he could get. Made the start but got defensive, and I would suggest a little bit nervous in the latter stages of that race as well. Enabled Koltykov to go past and eventually drop back behind Kononov as well, but claims the World Championship by a single point after taking third place and the final step on the podium here in Inzell. Dmitry Koltykov then agonisingly close to the World Championship, just a point in arrears after his first meeting victory of 2016. Thanks to his 6 consecutive race wins at the start of the meeting, Dmitry Komitsevich is the match's top scorer, despite dropping 2 places back under pressure late on in the final. And his place on the last podium of the season gives him a first world title. Dmitry Koltykov threw everything he had at Komitsevich with the meeting win and a pass in the final, but eventually falls just a point short in the championship chase. This year was really hard for all of us. The champion was only decided in the last race, and we were all really close on points and all really trying our best. Now I have some time to prepare for next year and will fix all of my mistakes. This is my worst result in 5 years, but I'm still among the top riders and hope to be back again next season. Pre-season was really difficult, so I thank my fans and sponsors just for getting me here. All of my bikes and setups were the same as last year, and despite my best efforts, we just couldn't do it this season. Thank you to all of my team and to my family for this result. I hope I can bring back the title next year. I'm really happy today. It's been a long time coming. I've been third 5 times, and I've also finished second. By yesterday, my nerves were completely shot, and I touched the tapes in the final. Today, I was incredibly nervous as well, so I tried to concentrate on something else and just not to think about the championship. Thanks a lot to my father and my tuner who prepared the bike for me. I'm so happy. Stefan Svensson takes 7th in the standings after a last weekend collapse for Ove Ledstrom. And Franz Zorn makes up 11 points on Egor Mishkovets, but falls short of 5th place at the end of the campaign. Close fought throughout, the 2016 championship gradually narrowed to a 2-rider battle between reigning champion Dmitry Koltykov and perennial nearly man Dmitry Komitsevich. Consistency and fast starting gives Komitsevich his first World Championship win.
Ein einziger Punkt. Ja, ein tolles Bild und dann kommt Mr. Marat Arbikayev und über Dmitry Komitsevich und wir